Let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 18 of Tights Frame of Mind. And we have a very special guest with us today, Rob, Speed King, my
Hey,
co-host.
how's it going, everybody? What's up?
Can you introduce our very special guest?
So, our very special guest, I am very excited today. She is my football buddy whenever the NFL season is around. She's also one of the OGs when it comes to promoting hosiery when it comes to men. And she allows men in her advertisements. I'm proud to introduce Christi Hairston of Carra Hosiery. Christi, thank you for joining us today. Girl, it is great to see you finally. How's my buddy?
So good to see you, and goodbye to your quarterback. No longer. Can we just
okay? So we're gonna talk sports. Really, is that what we're gonna do here? We're gonna talk about football because I'm gay, so that just sort of like basically I'm like, we're talking about what now?
I have to get this out of my system.
Okay,
I am a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, and whenever we make it to the playoffs, we can never get past Green Bay, which is Rob's team, and because of his awesome quarterback Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers is no longer Green Bay, so that gives me hope. But good morning, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, I wanted to start with just a little bit of story. I was going to be wearing the exact same pair of hose. What those are called? The Chaos, Rob? Is that?
They are the Chaos Tights. Yes. As you watch it on Patreon, here they are. These are the Chaos Tights.
Yes. Proudly representing. Thank you, Rob.
I had a hangnail that I was not aware of.
Oh no!
And it was right here, so it was like, nope. It was like,
I'll have to make sure I get you another pair.
Oh, but I mean, I'll thank you, but like they're great. I mean, they're great. They feel great. They look great. And like Rob said, you were one of the first people to include like a man, and I don't want to, and again, I'm trying not to be offensive. And if I am, forgive me, but a male presenting man in your ads, which is very important to the community from our end, right, Rob?
Oh, absolutely. And in my personal opinion, you did it right.
Oh,
you're one of the first ones. Yes, you're one of the first ones that did it right by showing somebody who dressed normally, not in a certain specific way, but the look in a normal everyday outfit.
Or traditional instead of normal, because normal's kind of what's normal.
Well, traditional. Yeah, exactly. What is normal?
So very much, and that means so much. And quite honestly, Rob, you taught me a lot about men wearing hosiery. And I can remember one of my first photo shoots with one of my male models, and we were looking at different outfits. And we thought, no, we need camouflage, because guess what? I've seen Rob wear camouflage. So we need camouflage shorts, we need a denim look, but then we also need a trendy, more let's think about after 5 look for men. And I think it was so important for me. I'll let you guys go because I have so much to say about that. So much to say.
No, keep going.
I don't want to jump.
We're listening.
Well, it was important for me when I first launched Carra Hosiery. There was so much research that I had to do, but a lot of my research focused on the product itself. My idea was really to come up with a product that was fashion forward, that was sustainable, and that was loved by all hosiery lovers. Unbeknownst to me, there was this niche market of men hosiery. And the minute I launched, I remember Hosiery for Men, who runs his blog in the UK. He reached out to me, and then I think you reached out to me. And I pivoted in a completely different direction. I thought, wait a second, this is an untapped market that no one is talking about, no one is catering to, and let me do something about this. Let me do something about it. And the name of my company, Carra, is for my beloved sister who passed away when I was 13 years old.
I'm sorry.
And I was just talking about her yesterday. She was fearless in her fashion. She wore green hair back in the days. she dressed in tomboy clothing. She wore whatever she wanted to do. And so her spirit lives within my brain. Although I may be sometimes conservative, but I think, no, what would Carra do? Carra wouldn't do it that way. So her brain and her spirit lives throughout. And it was important for me to carry that spirit throughout the brand, throughout my product, but also throughout those different communities of people that love the product, that may be in the closet, that may feel uncomfortable, or those that have confidence. It's so very, very important for me to embrace that and to celebrate that.
And it's another astonishing thing too, is that you are, I mean, there's not a lot of choices, at least not for a long time. There were not a lot of choices for brown skinned people with pantyhose too.
Yeah.
So you were covering all the bases because you're also catering to a market of like people who are not white, who need skin tones that match them, which, is also it's an admirable thing. And so what can I ask though, and I'm sorry to cut you, but can I ask, like, why hosiery? But what was that made you go for that as your company, as the main thing?
Yes, so that's a really good question, and I get that question often. I have always loved to wear tights. I found a picture of myself last week where I went to my 8th grade formal and I had on white stockings and they had my initials engraved around the ankle.
Dang.
Yes, my initials engraved. So I have always loved to wear tights and hosiery from a very, very young age, thanks to my mom. And I was in between careers, and my background is marketing. So I was in between careers and really just thinking about leaping into entrepreneurship. And I was thinking, what is something that I know that I love, something that I know I will be passionate about, that I can turn into a business of my own? And it took me about a week, and I started to think about the things around the house. I love to do marketing. I used to do event planning. That comes naturally to me. Everyone comes to my house, say, "Oh, she's the Black Martha Stewart," because everything's got to be perfect. The linen, everything's got. But that wasn't it. That wasn't it. And I thought, I was at a point where wearing hosiery, I couldn't find a product that I really liked that had the fashion sense to it. It may have had the colors, it may have had the sustainability to a certain degree. But you know all about hosiery. You see some that are too glossy. You see some that you wear them one time and that was it. So I thought, this is something that I know that I love, but I don't see it in a way that I would want to wear it in all facets of my life, whether it's going to work, going to church, or dressing up after 5. I didn't see anything that was there. And that became the draw for Carra Hosiery. And the idea was really to change the way the modern day woman wear hosiery, but then also to celebrate and break the stigma of men wearing hosiery became the second part of my mission.
Now, let me ask you something, and this is from one business owner to another business owner, because
I own a business too, man. You just didn't ask.
But from one business owner to another business owner, we all have our difficulties with getting the products out there and getting the ideas out there. Did you run into any roadblocks, especially when it came to advertising towards men, or was the market open to it? Just out from your perspective.
Yeah, I think the market was open to it. It wasn't until recently, believe it or not, where I got some backlash from someone that follows me.
What happened?
I won't give their name, but
okay.
I posted a Throwback Thursday of Mark Bryan in my hosiery. And this guy immediately attacked me. He sent messages saying that Mark doesn't support the LGBT community and he's not a supporter, and I'm going to take companies like yourself down. And I thought, wait a second. How did I get caught up in whatever you have going on in your personal feelings with Mark? Because I am a big component, a strong ally for the LGBT community.
And as somebody who is part of the community, what the hell does that have to do with clothes? I mean, like, the implication being that in order that if you wear pantyhose, you have to be either LGBTQ. That's nonsense.
Yes, and I think there was an article where Mark cited that because of his clothing decisions, a lot of people label him as being a part of the LGBT community. But I guess he has said, no, I'm not a part of that community. I just like to wear what I like to wear.
That's not being against it. That's just saying I'm being honest. I don't.
Yeah, it has nothing. Wearing hosiery, and this is coming from a straight perspective. I mean, I've been wearing
Straight-ish.
hosiery. You know what I'm talking about. Come on. He loves to rib me on this.
I do.
Yes. we rib each other all the time. But I mean, but the thing is like, for me, I mean, I wear for my particular reasons, both medical and fashion reasons, and the fact that I just enjoy wearing hosiery. And I've embraced the fetish side of it, because I mean, yes, I'd had a fetish with it. But the thing of it is that how does that even mix with the LGBTQ when it has nothing to do with that in the first place?
It's complete. Yeah, they're completely different. They're completely different things. That if they overlap, that's just a coincidence. That's not a matter of what.
Exactly.
You know, like, exactly. I mean, but I will say this: I was straight until I wore pantyhose for the first time, and then boom, I'm gay. That's what happened, because that's how it works, right? I mean,
right. That's it.
And then when you take them off, I'm straight again. It's like some sort of, like, I don't know, like some 80s screwball comedy.
Yes. So Rob, to answer your question, I think not until recently that was probably the biggest backlash I ever received. Oftentimes there are some comments that people may leave on social media, and I just delete it immediately, because that's not what my brand is about, and that's not the community that I want to represent.
You know, though,
I would be the same. Well, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, okay. I do think, I know it's tough to leave it up, but I like to see the people. Like, I like to read the comments, because it usually is a giveaway that these are more than likely some man out there who is wanting to do this and does not have the courage to do it, and therefore it comes out as hate. That's usually how hate works. It comes from ignorance and jealousy. Like, that's where all hate it really is born from. So I personally will get on there and I'll answer them, and I will win, because, like, I've been talking to those guys since the dawn of time.
Yeah. You know? He sent me a DM, which I try to respond to all of my DMs. And I immediately said to him, if you have any issues with Mark, you should address that directly with him. Yeah. I am not a part of whatever your opinions are against him. I just felt like it was wrongfully to attack me and my brand.
Yeah.
And I went back and forth with him a couple of times, and I just said, you know what, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And he even blasted my company against on his account as an example of a brand that does not support LGBT. And I just immediately thought, you don't know my brand if you're saying that about me. You don't. We're gonna
after the interview, I want to know who this is, because I'm going to talk. I want to talk to this person. I just want to see if this person's still, I want to see what they're doing, because this kind of shit, and by the way, we can curse on this, it pisses me off, because you're doing something that is very, very helpful to male wearers. And to have somebody get their, underwear just like twisted up their ass like that and come at you with like Looney Tunes, it bothers me. And it's like, if that person's going to blast you, well, then I will use my platform to blast them. So.
Oh, we've got a war going on here.
I will go to war for somebody. No, I will go to war for advocates, because your company is normalizing what has always been normal. It's just you're taking the first steps to do it. And it's great. It's a great thing for guys like us who at the start of the internet, especially Rob has been around since you said pre-internet, which I didn't even know was the thing. Right?
Yeah, the old BBS days. Yeah.
Like, so. I mean, we've watched it go from being a thing that is like just laughed at, like point and laugh, to it's starting to, be worn by people like, Cristiano Ronaldo and,
Yes,
mhm.
yes. It's a
And
thing for
yeah,
trend. Yes.
yeah. So it's, even if you, I mean, you could hire whatever. I mean, hiring a model does not mean you are like they're contract people. It's like a model's hired and that's how that happens. And then because if people hired models and were afraid of how they would act when they aren't doing a photo shoot, well, I mean, the fashion industry is like not really. I mean, I've heard some stories about some of those Coke parties. Just saying. So I don't
Yes.
think that Gucci would have mod work, or what was it? What was the one that they always had really super skinny models back in the day?
Oh
The
my
really
God.
skinny, they called it like heroin chic. I can't remember. It was like they were all like sunken cheek and whatnot. I'm getting off topic here, but question to you: were you surprised by the amount of sales that you got that were from men when you started to open the sales up to that?
I was, and I'll tell you a secret. My men are the most loyal customers I have.
That's
Men,
awesome.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
yes, the most loyal. And probably for social media to a certain degree, the most engaging on Facebook, not so much as Twitter, I'm sorry, Instagram, but the most loyal for sure.
And not
And
only that, but also you recognize your loyal customers as well, your car guys and car girls. I am
Yes,
a I am a proud car guy. Thank you.
are. Yes,
I will blast that out always. So yes, I am a proud car guy. I've got several of your pairs. I mean, from your tuxedo stripe to your chaos to your original, and and not only that, but but that's the other thing that for me also sets you apart from many other companies is that you engage on social media, you engage, and and even recently, I've recently saw a reel where you happen to be in a parking lot deck and you happen to see somebody wearing one of your socks.
yes, Rob, I had never had that happen to me before. Me and my sister was leaving dinner and we were walking to pay our ticket to leave the parking lot. And my sister, I looked at her, my sister-in-law, she looked at her and she says, I think those are your socks. And I thought, really? And I looked again and we asked her, where did you get those socks from? And she said, oh, I think I ordered them from Amazon. And I said, no, those are Carra Hosiery socks. And then she said, oh, you know what? I did buy those. And then she remembered where she purchased them from. And it turned into an entire hugging out session in the parking lot.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really was. It really and truly was. But yeah, I love to see my customers and my items. I love to engage with the public. I was so beat down when COVID happened for so many. But one of the biggest reasons in terms of Cara was to really be out there to showcase the product.
Yeah. It's that, I mean, anybody starting anything that required visibility at that time, which is what everybody, I mean, it was really rough and I was pulling for you. I was early. I mean, I did not like, I didn't blast like Rob only because I had a broken foot at that time. So yeah, it was congenital. I literally stepped on it one day and it just broke. It's called a Jones fracture. It was rough. So I was basically housebound for a year because of that. But I did still buy hosiery and I bought your hosiery early on and it was it's great. I mean, what's great about it too is you ever like sometimes you get the pattern hosiery, you put it on and they look one way on the package and then you put them on and they sort of look like a Picasso where it's like they're literally like the patterns are just like all wonky. Yours, they just even like they just
work.
Yeah, like I know those pair like they go right up to like the line where like it would appear where like the underwear would start. You just line them up. It's like it's fantastic.
And that's the other thing. I love the fact that with your hosiery, you've got the built-in panty to it.
Mm-hmm.
So because you had the whole free the panty campaign going on early on.
Yeah. That was part of my initial idea. And this is probably TMI, but I got
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I got to that point where wearing hosiery, it was just too much. So it was a solution for me to create this product where you could eliminate that altogether.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to tell anybody that they're wrong to wear underwear under pantyhose, but they're wrong. I mean, it's just.
I like to say they're overdressed. I think that's my way of stating that.
I would
and I would agree with that. I would agree with that 110,000%, honestly.
Yeah, I live in Florida, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to layer your nether regions, because it will be a bayou by the end of the working day, and it's not going to be good. You come home, you're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to shower now because that smells gamey.
Oh, and you want to rip everything off, and you don't want to rip your off.
No, that is so true. That is so true. You know, I even to this day, I get dumb and I do that because it's like let's say, I don't know, maybe you have a little Mexican food and you're like, I need to go, and so it's the end of it. And you're like, I just take them off real quick, and then that's when you do it. That's when you mess them up. When you just, it's the worst. Oh, I got to stop myself from doing that. Thank you for the reminder.
Well, my next question for you, Christi, is when it comes to the material itself. I mean, how long did it take you to finally, decide on the material? Because you talk about with the antimicrobial that's within your hosiery is which it's amazing, by the way. What was the process? Take us all through the process with that.
Yes. So when I decided on hosiery was going to be my brand, and I decided on the name, I had to immediately engross myself into learning about fabrics. Again, my background is marketing. I knew nothing about textiles. So it was important for me when I launched that I needed to launch with a good item. There was going to be no return on, oh, let me try this a second go around. So it took me almost a year, actually, to research the materials. I enrolled in a class in North Carolina, believe it or not. And I remember going to this class. It was a 3-day class, and I had a back of the napkin idea. I knew all of what I wanted to do was in my head, but I had my ideas and a business plan on the back of a napkin. But while I was there, I pitched my idea to the instructor. And I told him, I said, there are not a lot of brands that have built-in bikini panties. I love fashion. I don't see a lot of smaller brands developing different designs that are fashion forward. And he said, can you stay an additional day? If you can, I may be able to introduce you to the manufacturer here. So I'm already here. So yes. So there was another lady in the class that had flown in from Australia, just to give you an idea of this particular class and the volume of entrepreneurs that they support, as well as companies.
Big deal. It's a big deal class.
Big deal. So I had to drive, I think, 2 hours away from where I was to go meet with the manufacturer. And when I got there, I saw these posters of Calvin Klein and DKNY and Ralph Lauren. And I am shaking, nervous in my boots, because I'm thinking, I'm just this small brand, this lady that just have an idea on a napkin. I don't know anything about manufacturing hosiery. Why would they want to talk to me? And as I'm going through the facility, I'm seeing some of my ideas that were in my mind. I had an idea that my box would be hot pink. Well, guess what? I saw Commando on their printing belt. That idea went away. My idea of a built-in bikini panty. Go Commando. That idea went away. All of these things happened just in a short period of time. And I started to doubt myself, quite honestly. I started to doubt, okay, you need to take a step back. You're really not ready for this. And then I thought, no, I made it this far. I'm going all the way. And by the end of the meeting, I shook hands with the president of the company. I gave him my idea. I gave him my pitch. I wanted a product that was going to last. I wanted a product that everyone would feel comfortable. I wanted a product that you would look good and feel good in wearing. And those were all of my ideas. And they went with it. We shook hands, and then Carra went into production about 9 months after that.
Wow. How how do you do, like, okay, for instance, like on the chaos pattern, it's amazing that it is visible on any skin tone.
Yes, yes.
How do
yes.
you do that? Because that's gotta be tough.
I sketched that out literally in my notepad. I sketched out what I wanted the designs to be, even to the tuxedo stripe. I sketched that out. And I tested, I have a closet full of different hosiery samples where I have tested up and down, beat them up, leggings, a mannequin, a friend, a family member, at all sorts of testing. And it was important that the quality, the denier, it needed to be shown in a way on any skin tone. So I lots and lots of different fabrics. That class really taught me a lot. And even the manufacturer, I'm so very, very, very thankful for them, because they held my hand through the entire process and through the research. If I was promoting this as an item that you don't have to wear underwear with, well, guess what? We need to think about hygiene. So can we add something that give everyone that sense of feeling of freedom, that you can wear this product, but then you don't have to worry about, like we talked about earlier, you want to get this off of you.
Swamp.
For various reasons. So there was a lot of it was almost like peeling back an onion. Everything that I thought about, I had to think about, in addition, how would that complement that?
That's, I mean, and that's the thing that I think is really incredible about stories like yours, is that there's these you have to learn about this whole world. And so now I would say you're comfortably part of that world. And do you have any advice for young people, or I don't know, anybody really, who would be trying to attempt something that you did? If they have an idea about pantyhose, like, what would be some advice that you could give to them now that you've established yourself as a solid company that's, doing well?
Yeah, I would say take your time. I think because we're in we want it now society, and everything is just moving so very, very fast. It was important for me not to compromise the integrity of my brand by going to do something quick. So taking that 9 months, almost a year, to really do research and to dive into different textiles and to understand them. My biggest advice would be, don't be so fast and hasty. Take your time, because you only have that first shot to launch your first collection. That is going to be your representation of your brand. There are things you can certainly do to perfect it along the way. There are things I'm still doing. I just changed my the box. It now says Hello Hosiery Lover. It used to say Hello Gorgeous, but I've made that change, knowing that I have a community of hosiery lovers that are just maybe don't appeal to the word gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would say take your time and do your research.
Absolutely. Now take us down the path here, because I'm looking at your website right now.
Okay.
And so
It's and say the website.com.
carrahosiery.com.
Yes.
So I'm looking here, and I'm wondering, where did you come up with the name of Kenzie and Chelsea, and what were some of the ideas behind these collections?
Yes, very good question. So my daughter's middle name is Mackenzie.
Okay.
And in high school, some of my girlfriends used to call me Chelsea for fun.
Ah.
Yes.
Why Chelsea?
That Chelsea for fun.
Chelsea for fun? Was that like the full name was Chelsea for fun, or was it just Chelsea?
Oh, just Chelsea.
But why Chelsea? Like, who are they referencing?
I have no idea.
Well, it's just like people used to make fun of me of my first name. I mean, I usually go by Rob, which is my middle name from Robert, but everybody would always like to make fun of my first name, which was Edwin. So
Got it.
Yeah,
And I think Sometimes people want to say, is it Christine? Is it Christian? But it's just Christy.
Yeah, like Christi. It's there's no unclear. Like, it's not unclear there. I mean, when it ends with an I, you should know. Or, I mean, like it's funny. But I was thinking, like, I'm like, well, I can't think of any. I'm trying to think of like Chelsea's, and I was like, there's Chelsea Handler. Maybe you had similar senses of humor. I'm like, and then like Chelsea, like in New York, maybe. Were you from?
Maybe. I honestly, I can't remember, but that was a name that kind of stuck with a group of my girlfriends. And so that's where Chelsea came from.
Now, do you have anything in the works right now that is something that you can talk about? And if you can't talk about details, what are the like broad plans for your next phase of movement?
So I would like to expand into more intimates. Testing out different samples of products since COVID. Nothing has hit me where I feel like, oh, this is it just yet, but I would like to expand into more intimate products.
Interesting. So, like, are we thinking like thigh high, or kind of think corsety things? Are we thinking like full blown lingerie things? Am I allowed to ask these questions?
Certainly can. So I'm thinking of more skin tone undergarments.
Okay.
All right.
I love skin tone myself. I'm a big I love it. It's my jam. So
Challenging to find a skin tone, a color, because not everyone's tone is different. Is the same. You've got undertones that you have to consider. All of some have orange, some have different melanine. So there are lots of different things to consider, but that's the direction that I'm testing right now.
Yeah, that is tough.
I would like to ask the two of you, what would you like to see from Carra Hosiery?
Rob, I'll let you go first.
For me personally, I would love actually to see a legging style, either sheer leggings or even opaque leggings that are close to being sheer, but not necessarily.
Okay.
That's what I would like to personally see, or at least or even shorts, like knee length, skin tight shorts.
Oh, okay.
I would love to see some more different designs, because I mean, of course you got your chaos, you got your tuxedo stripe, which are my two favorite. You've got your back scene, but I would also love to see different animal prints, or different other or even a good tartan print. I would love to see different types of prints out there that I think would go really well with your brand as well.
Okay, thank you for that. I've had a couple of people ask me about tights for children, and then I've also had a couple of people ask about compression socks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yes. So just love the feedback for sure.
Well, let me ask you this: Have you thought about support hosiery as well? I mean, I know that's that goes in a completely different realm, but have you thought about something like that? And this is just coming from my end of the spectrum here.
I have, but it's one of those things where half the people love support hose, the other half does not.
Yes, it's a touchy subject with a lot of people when it comes to pantyhose.
Yeah.
But why is support touchy? I don't.
Well, it's some people, for some, they feel like they're being sausage, like feeling like a sausage encasement or something like that. You got some, they're like, oh, well, that's too tight, and I really can't, wear something. I want something that'll breathe, or something that's a little more, has a little bit more room to it.
Yeah, I was surprised by that as well.
I personally would like to see. I really love the way that you use patterns and colors. I would love to see a sort of like those like black and white cookies that they have, well, I'm Jewish, so they're very, they're like the ones that are like half dark chocolate and half white. Like, I feel like I'd love to see some white and and dark patterns. That would be really groovy. And I don't know if you could maybe do it as sort of like a special edition, like available for a limited time type of thing.
Ooh.
Uh,
Yes.
and
Have that on my vision board, a special edition of a design for my anniversary coming up in October.
yeah, I feel like that would be awesome.
Okay, I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like, no, I was sorry. Are you going to say something, Rob? Did I cut you off?
Well, I was going to kind of piggyback on what you just said. I mean, I can see that where you got different designs where you have, say, a skin tone also with the different designs, or like you said, the all white with the black designs.
That's not what I said.
Well, like I said, I'm piggybacking on what you said. But you get where I'm going at, or different colors with the different patterns as well. I mean, I can see that with with your greens and blues and reds and stuff like that. I mean, you could really like make a complete color palette and with the different designs.
Okay. What about men? What do you think that they're most favorable of? A pattern, a solid color, or skin tone?
I'm going to say skin tone. Personally, if I'm going to say the majority of wearers that I talk to, skin tone is usually the thing that they're after. Yeah.
So I have my fishnet, my skin tone new fishnet collection.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have had a couple of male customers to purchase those, and I just thought, is this something that they've been looking for?
I think fishnet is a more niche aspect of wearers. I know people who do, but I know the majority of male wearers tend to like a sheer solid pattern. It's usually either black or the traditional, quote unquote nude. Sorry, just hit my mic. But that seems to be the thing that the most male wearers are after that I've spoken to. I think because many of them are not even ready to take the step of a wild pattern. Like the wild pattern is perfect for guys like, me and Rob, where we're already, have taken the step of wearing them publicly. And it's sort of like, you have to sort of test the waters as a wearer. So you can't go out the door with anything that's going to bring attention to you. At least, I mean, you can, but people just don't. And that's sort of, I think, where the desire for the product like that comes from, I think.
Okay. Got it. This is
because you're still dealing with the element of when you're talking about somebody who hasn't broken that mental chain, whereas King and I, we've broken that mental chain. We're out in the public. It's like we don't care what people think of how we look.
Yeah, we came just born to not give a fuck, which I love. But I do have and I try to tell guys all the time, like, listen, it is not a thing. I promise you, if you wear, nobody's going to give a shit.
Yes. I have talked to so many of my male customers about that, whether it's email or a DM, gradually taking those baby steps to get there. And I can imagine what it would take to get there. I really couldn't imagine that. But yeah, everyone's going to have something to say regardless. So
yeah. I mean, and Rob lives in a small town, and you live in small town Virginia. I mean,
yeah, right? I'm in Richmond, which is the capital city. I'm just outside of Richmond. It's a very eclectic area. So I've grown up in small town, but I've also lived in big city, and so I've got a good feel of how everybody is. And the problem is everybody's like this. They're in their own phones. They're in their own world.
Yeah, it's like, and anybody if anybody does come up to you to say something, which they won't, but if they do, you can just firmly know that deep down, they're only doing this because they're jealous and they want to know why you're doing what they can't do publicly.
Yes. What do you think is the biggest misconception of men in hosiery?
Oh, wow. That's a massive take right there. Aaron, I'll let you take this one.
The biggest misconception, I think, is that that there's some deviancy involved with it. I think that because it's associated with fetish, that fetish is still somehow in this even in this day and age a deviant thing, when in reality it's not. It's garden variety, and it's also completely, it makes complete sense. If you like how it looks and it feels, why is that shocking that that would come into a room where sensuality and sex is involved? But putting that aside, there is, I even notice this more in the, like, inside the community. There are men who are open about it, that want to make sure they are not seen as, you know, somebody who's fetishized it, and it creates dissension. But I'd say the biggest one is that there is some sort of deviancy, or that it is, you know, but usually the people saying that are, you know, I'm going to say maybe further to the right. They generally are religious. They see it as associated with being gay, which is then associated with being female, which is less than, because you don't want to be a feminine guy if you're a girl, because, you know, it's so I think it's all kind of rooted in sort of religious misogyny myself. But yeah, I think the misconception is deviancy. What about you, Rob?
For me now, on my end now, I've been to church in my hosiery. I've been in front of the church, in my hosiery. Everybody knew why I wore hosiery, and they accepted me for it. But also at the same time, I agree with what King here was saying. You know, there's a lot of misconceptions where, because there's still that stigma out there. There's still people still look at it, and whereas I would go to a party and I would have somebody who I've never met before, who knows nothing about me, just out of nowhere for 2 hours not say a damn thing, and I could be wearing like red pantyhose for all that matter, you know, for a Christmas party, and then out of nowhere saying, "Wait a second, I didn't realize you were wearing," because, well, I color coordinate. Thank you.
They realize too, by the way. They're just like, I never even noticed.
And they're usually saying, "Oh, hold on, flag on the play. I gotta ask, why are you wearing?" And then once I explained to them, they would sit there and think, "Okay, I get it."
Yes.
But the thing is, I also will, before I bring up my situation, I'll sit there and say, "Well, what's the matter with it? I mean, perfectly normal. I'm color coordinated. Is there a problem with it?" In other words, I want to see where they're going to go, and then once I see where they're at and everything, and I defend what's going on, and I treat it as if I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm like, "So what's the problem with my outfit?" And then finally, once I explain to them that, you know, because I deal with my own health issues and everything else, and they were like, "Oh, okay." But the thing of it is, I want to see where people are coming from, see where they're going, and see how they respond first. Because I don't want to sit there and out of nowhere just go, "Oh, I wear it for issues." No,
Yes.
I want to see where their thinking is, and so like what King was saying, you know, there's still a lot of fear out there. There's still a lot of a stigma out there. I mean, it's 2023 now. We've gotten past a lot of stuff. We've progressed past a lot of many of the old taboos. We've
Stupid shit.
yes, we've passed a lot of the stupid shit. But at the same time, we're moving beyond. We're not out there trying to be deviants. We're not out there and sit there and go, "Hey, look at me." No, we're out there.
I mean, there is an element of look at me, but, you know, if you're not doing that with your outfits, then why bother wearing it?
Well, there is a guy here in Richmond that does that, and well, he's more of a living legend now than
he does. What does he do? He wears outfits that are look at me. Or what do you mean?
Yes. Oh yeah, there's a guy out there. A quick story. There's a guy, him and his wife. What it was, they would constantly go to our local mall before it got shut down, or to our local Walmart. They would dress up exactly the same. I'm talking short skirts, pantyhose, heels, jingles on the legs, everything, and they would just be clomping back and forth around the main aisles and all that. And a lot of people would stop, stare, and point, some giggle, and everything else. And then there was this myth that around that they were wearing it to bring awareness to their son who was gay, who died. Well, come to find out, that was complete and utter bullshit. what it was, he likes to dress up in women's clothing, and he wanted to get himself more confident in wearing. And so him and his wife literally would twin up and wear the exact same outfits.
That's
together.
cool.
And I was like, you know what, that's actually kind of badass.
Really. It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's a local legend. He's a local legend. And whenever you're in Ashland, Virginia, you might see him riding up and down on his bike.
Wow.
In heels?
In heels, boots.
He rides a bike in heels
or leggings. You never know.
Okay, I've worn heels once for a photo shoot, and I walked like a gorilla in them. And I don't know how you do anything in heels. I mean, have you ever ridden like a bike in heels?
The only time I've ever worn heels was when I was a young kid and I didn't have any snow boots, and so my mom.
I was asking Christi, Rob. Good Lord. I was asking our guest, but you rode a bike in heels.
I want to hear Rob's story.
I'm sorry. It just dawned on me. I was like, holy shit. Okay, didn't mean to cut you off, but sorry. It just sort of happened. I was like, wow.
I'll let Christi answer this one.
What was the question?
Have you ever ridden a bike in heels?
Oh, no, never.
Okay, Rob, what was the time that you rode a bike in heels?
It was snowing out. This is back when I was a little kid. It was just my mom and I. And anytime it snowed here in Virginia, which anybody in Virginia knows that when we get a big snow, it snows. And so my mom would have me wear, of course, pantyhose instead of long johns, because we didn't have long johns. And then she had these really like these knee high boots or whatever, and they were heels. And so I would have to wear those. They were like leather boots or something like that, because she couldn't afford to buy me, snow boots or anything like that. And I remember trying to ride through the snow, because my friends and I, we were all sitting there trying to see if we could actually ride down our neighborhood street on a bike and everything. And yeah, it failed miserably.
Ooh.
Never did.
Yeah, no. I kind of imagine you like looking like Eddie Izzard. Like, is that the look?
Think Eddie Izzard, but with a heavy jacket.
Oh no!
Oh, that's not a good. No, yeah. Eddie Izzard. His tops. Their tops better. She's tops better. Oh, I misgendered. Her tops better. Oh fuck. Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, think Eddie Izzard, but with the knee-high boots, jeans, and a heavy jacket. It was not a good look. But this is the 80s back then, and most kids just didn't give a crap. Didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, that is something else. Like that's sort of like out of almost like a I don't know, like like the 1980s sci-fi movie where it's like just imagine somebody coming out like out of nowhere on a bike, just like wearing like crazy rando outfits. Yeah, like you know what? That's where that you got to do a photo shoot. You got to do a recreation of it, but instead of jeans, you wear the chaos things. That'll look cool. That'll look cool. I dare you, Rob. Come on, you got kilts. Do it.
I got kilts.
You got kilts. So wear kilts and the boots. Do it. You should do it. Aren't you have a motorcycle?
No.
Oh well, you could find one.
I asked that question about the misconception because I always want to make sure that with my messaging, I'm hitting the mark.
I got to tell you, I think the real things you can do too is to just, if you invest more, like shots of the models, like one thing I have not seen yet is the leading a page with the male model in the studio setting, and like sort of like, and I could give you ideas about what I think as far as like how shoots should go, like what is the best way to do it, because I think a lot of, I don't want to name names, but I think a lot of the whole aspect of showing them naked is not really how you should go. And so you're more in the right direction where you have the coordinated outfit, but we don't see a lot of studio shots. We see outdoorsy things, but we don't see studio focus. So if you have a chance to do that and lead with that, that really attracts me as a buyer, because I see that you are not afraid to say, we're doing this. And you haven't been, not that I'm saying that you haven't done that, but I just think it's almost like default that you start with that leg shot that's usually a woman, a woman's leg, and sort of roll with it. I think I would be curious to see, and maybe your market research tells you differently, but from what I've talked to from most other people who sell through shapings.com, I've talked to them. I've talked to other individual company, CEO or owners and entrepreneurs, that a majority of their sales comes from men. And like we're talking 80 to 90% for shapings, I think was what Robert Safko said. And so I was curious, can I ask you what your percentage of sales goes to male wearers, or are you not comfortable sharing that?
No, I'm just thinking. I would say it could be 40% male.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, certain weeks it's all male customers. And then the next week it may change. I mean, it definitely have its ebbs and flows, but I would say probably 60-40.
Wow.
Did you get was it I mean, it's very brave of you to go obviously with leading with a black man as your model, and knowing that, and I know this as being a gay man, that the homophobia that can happen amongst gay black males can be even more intense than what happens to white men that are gay. It's just, it can be more vicious. It can be a trickier thing. How did you like feel about doing that? Did you face anything as far as those go? I mean, was there any sort of apprehension from
from the male models themselves?
From the male models, or maybe from like people in your life that you were bouncing ideas off of? Because I'm curious about that, because I'm ignorant to a lot of the black experience, that he's not experiencing it.
I did not. My male model and I shouldn't say male model. Well, I can't say male model with him. He's a friend of my daughter's, and she mentioned to him, hey, my mom has this idea. She has this brand. Would you be interested? And he was a natural fit. We chatted a couple of times, and he was so excited about the idea, because for him, he said he had never seen it done before. So he was very honored to be my card guy, to represent the brand for men. So I would say not a lot of backlash. I have done some casting calls before where some men have not felt as comfortable as others in wearing the product, and I respect that. I respect that. But yeah, I would say my card guy that I have now, he loves it. I will send him sometimes. He's done photo shoots without my presence. Him and my daughter would just go to a park, or he will have a outfit that he wants to shoot in Carra Hosiery, and he'll shoot it and send me pictures, and it's like, oh wow. So yeah, he's a natural. He's a natural.
Wow, yeah, he's got great style. I'll give him that. He got great style, and the way the photos are done, phenomenal.
We'll have to do it, and maybe an episode where we talk about the aspect of setting the shoot up, what things go into it, how do you direct it, what goes into it, like that kind of stuff. Because I'd be curious to know, like, what is the elements of a shoot, and what goes into it. So maybe you talk to your daughter and your model. Maybe we can have as a group session, because I think that's interesting.
Yes, I mean, some of our photo shoots are so not planned. I think I have some pictures. I'm not sure if I released, but we were outside of his house, and there was a car that was parked in the woods, and we took a chair there because it was fall and there were leaves, and it looked like a great scene. So
production value.
Yeah, we took full advantage of it. So yeah, sometimes we have an idea of, I have an idea of what I want to shoot, and then it just goes from there.
Fantastic. Well,
that's awesome.
I don't want to keep you for too much longer. Rob, do you have any closing remarks, questions for our lovely Christi, our fantastic guest today?
Well, first and foremost, we got to have you back on again, just like I said, to talk about the production value.
I just said that.
I mean, yeah, so just to repeat it. But no, seriously, Christi, thank you so much for coming on to the show. This has been an absolute blast. I have been so stoked to do this for quite a while. So we got to have you back.
Have you guys not visually seen each other before?
Not at-
Actually, she has. She interviewed me last year for her Father's Day specials.
Oh, okay. Because you hadn't talked since Father's Day virtually.
Yes.
No, we chat.
No, I mean like it's camera to camera. I mean,
oh no.
Okay, all right, guys. At the beginning of this episode, and for patrons, they can hear it. I was feeling so left out. I was like the new kid in class. Like, hi.